welcome. For the International Mental Health Day and UQ's Mental Health Week, my colleagues at the School of Mechanical and Mining Engineering and myself wanted to make this short video to reflect on the importance of mental health and maybe to also give you a couple of pointers on how you can look after your mental health. I speak from experience when I say that mental health issues such as stress, anxiety or depression often have multiple causes, and in order to address those issues, often we have to develop a number of strategies or remedies in order to improve our mental health and to get out of a rut. To dig down into different coping strategies, I decided to visit some of my colleagues in the school and have a brief chat with them about how they look after their mental health and what sort of coping strategies they develop.
Okay, hello, I'm Chris James. I'm a lecturer in aerospace engineering. Some of you may know me from hypersonics or space engineering. So for me, I guess I've tried over the long term to build up good habits, because when you've got time, you can take the time to learn a new recipe, start exercising, have a regular catch up with your friends. And then for me, when the going gets tough and I'm like, I really just need to relax a bit, I find going out to run is a relaxing thing. But if I haven't got that routine, I'm not going to have the time in my day to do it. I find going home and being able to mentally switch off by cooking dinner, just put a podcast on, put a TV show on, cook something, that makes me happy, and it means I'm eating well. And I think, in general, I think mental health over the long term is about building up those good habits, because sometimes life does get very hard. And if we don't set those, we don't get to have those good habits in motion, that it's easy to switch on when we need, it's hard. Like, you don't want to be down in the dumps and be like, you know what, I really want to eat better, to have a bit more energy, feel a bit better. You can't do that when you're trying to do 12-hour days, and that's actually another thing I think is important. Another thing with eating well is learn good, simple recipes. I spent about a year of my life when I was finishing my PhD, I cooked the same dish every single night. And it didn't matter to me because it was healthy, it was easy, and it just made life easy for me, And so build up the habits that you need. I think in the long term, that's a really helpful thing to do, I think. Hopefully that will help you maintain a good level that you can deal with hopefully whatever life throws at you.
Okay, hi, I'm Paul Meehan, and when I get stressed or anxious, I like to do a simple routine task, and sometimes with a little bit of a twist. So this may be as simple as cycling to work on a slightly different route.
I'm Lydia, and you probably had me for Eng 1100, and it might surprise you to know that I feel quite anxious quite a lot of the time, and things do upset me and I carry them with me. But I do two things. If I'm really getting very anxious, I'll go for a walk outside, just listen to the birds, get some sunshine, have a look at the trees. It really helps to center me and I feel so much happier. And then the other thing I do is I reach out and I talk to people. So I have quite a lot of go-to people in the faculty, and I will just ring them up and say, I just need a quick chat. And that really helps. That makes me feel much better. And of course I do the same for them. So sometimes they call me up and say, hey, just need a quick chat. So reach out and go for a walk.
So I'm Ruth Nibby, and I'm a lecturer in the School of Mechanical Engineering, and I would like to talk to you about some mental health issues. So for me, I'm incredibly busy, so I have a family at home, and so I have to look after the family, and so I have a lot of time pressures in my life. And so occasionally things don't go exactly to plan, and so I can feel things falling apart. So when I feel things falling apart, I can recognize something like, for example, that I'm obsessively checking my phone, or maybe you have one or two beverages too many, or maybe you have something like you get really short with people, or I also notice that maybe you have some negative thoughts going around in your head, and these become more and more prevalent when I think you're getting stressed out, or when I'm getting stressed out, that will happen. So that for me is a big indicator that maybe something's not quite right. So at those points, then what do? I need to take a break. So you need to make sure you take some time off, and that's serious time off, where it's you hanging out, doing whatever you want to do to make sure you can feel relaxed again, and just set a small reset button. But I also think what's really, really important is just to making sure is that your week is actually set up, or your life is set up in a way to avoid those kind of events. So things that I like to do is I'm pretty organized. So I use like Trello to make sure that I know exactly what I need to be doing each day of the week, because otherwise things get out of hand really, really quickly. I also do things like I make sure I exercise every single day. I really feel that helps my mental space. And I also do things like, so you need some time for reflection. So what's gone wrong? And so in each day, a little bit of reflection. So that might be for you, it might be meditating, maybe you can write a journal, or even just, I find reading books can be helpful as well, because you can read about what other people have been doing in their lives. And these kind of reflection points, I think, are also important with removing yourself from the situation. So those are the regular things that I like to have in my routine to make sure that I can stay on top of my mental health. And I guess it's probably other recommendations that everyone else can give to you, but I think the important take home is that you need to try lots of different things to make sure you can find out what works for you. Every individual is different, so maybe what works for you doesn't work for your best friend, and talk to different people about their different strategies and understanding how they can work to get on top of their mental health issues as well.
Okay, good day. Some of you know me. I'm Hal Gürgensi. I teach in School of Mechanical Engineering. So what do I tell you for the Mental Health Week? I'm 66 years old, but still, everybody, like everybody, I feel my ups and downs. Sometimes you feel really up in the sky, sometimes you feel down in the dumps. How do you cope with that? So I was asked, Michael asked me, what can I tell you? I'll tell you what I think about it. You may just discard it completely, or you may think that, okay, this old man has something to tell us about it. I always believed that healthy body, healthy mind is important. So you have to take care of what you eat, you have to exercise and all that sort of stuff. You know, as long as you have to feel well in your body so that you can feel well in your mind as well. After that, still, that's not enough. Still you feel down. I think the main thing is you have to recognize that you feel down. Okay? Sometimes that's the first step. Sometimes people don't recognize that. People feel bad, but they don't know that they are feeling down. They don't know what is happening to them. I think first recognize that you feel down for some reason. Then find out why. There may be several reasons, but find out the most critical one. I think that's the most important step towards getting out of that bad mood, because everyone goes into a bad mood every now and then. If you know why, if you can identify the problem, you can always solve it. There is no problem in this world that cannot be solved. Sometimes there are prices you pay, but you can't solve any problem. But first thing is you identify the problem. And once you identify it, then really do something about it. That something could be, I'll fully ignore it. That's fine. Then put it out of your mind. Or you do something. Or you postpone it. I'll say that I cannot deal with this now. I'll compartmentalize it in my mind. I'll deal with it after the exams or something. But so my really trick is in 4 sentences. That's my prop. Healthy body, healthy mind. Keep healthy. If you feel down, recognize that. Don't try to cover it. Identify the principal reason why you feel down and do something about it. Well, that's all my words of wisdom today. Keep healthy, stay safe.
Okay, one thing which I find is very useful is finding ways that you can be productive even when you don't feel like it. Like me, I find if I'm tired or I'm stressed or I'm really worried about something and I just can't focus, I sit there and I just panic. I'm like, I have all these things to do and I can't do it. And I find that's a good time to pick something that you can easily do that lets you feel productive without it being a difficult thing that your mind can't do at the time. Like even if it's something like cleaning the house. For me, it's often a time I take to edit my students' papers or things like this. I just have to read, make some comments. I find that easy. It's normally something I don't like doing. But it turns something that would normally be a very bad and negative thing into a very positive thing, because you take it as a time to do those things that normally you're like, you know what, I don't want to do that. But when you can't do anything, those things you normally don't want to do, the boring stuff, it becomes like the greatest thing in the world, because you're like, I just did this, I feel productive, and I didn't need my whole brain working to do it. I think that's a very useful thing. And then once you've done that, hopefully you feel a bit better, or you come back the next day and you can keep going with the other things which you have to do.
Since I initiated this video, I thought it was nothing but fair that I would also give you a couple of pointers and tell you how I look after my mental health balance. Now, some of you might know that one of my biggest passions is spearfishing and freediving. And through freediving, I came across a field which I previously dismissed as being something for hippies. And I really feel that the discovery of this field has really helped me in many ways, not just in gaining 2 national records in freediving, but also in maintaining my mental health. This field is breathing techniques, or proper breathing. And it's really amazing that one of the simplest things we do every day can have such a profound effect on us. What is really important to realize is that breathing, and particularly rapid breathing, is very deeply ingrained in our flight and fight response. And you see that with animals. So if an animal gets stressed, typically an animal starts to pant. And humans are very similar. So when we get stressed, we start to breathe very shallow. If we are aware of this fact, and through correct breathing techniques, we can use breathing to help us calm down and gain a better balance again. Breathing techniques obviously is a very big topic, and very likely I'm also not the most qualified person to talk about it. But here is what I do, and I think you'll find that this is very much in line with the basic breathing techniques that are taught in freediving, in yoga, or in Zen meditation. So there's 2 main aspects I recommend you to focus on. The first thing is to correctly breathe, and that includes first breathing in by moving your diaphragm down and then expanding your thorax in the second stage. So basically moving your diaphragm down by expanding your belly before breathing in by expanding your thorax. You will find that a lot of people that don't practice breathing techniques solely breathe by expanding their thorax. The other thing you can do when you practice breathing is to count your breath and the duration of the breathing in versus the breathing out cycle. And it is recommended typically that you breathe in at about twice the rate than you breathe out. So for beginners, for example, you can count to 1, 2 during the breathing in and 1, 2, 3, 4 during the breathing out. And for example, what I do when I'm anxious or when I'm feeling stressed, or also when I have troubles falling asleep because my brain is just rattling and doesn't let me stop thinking, I just lie there and I do exactly that. I just concentrate on my breathing and I count the breathing in versus the breathing out. Another thing which is also very useful is trying to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. And you actually find that slowly breathing in through your nose and exhaling through your mouth has a very calming effect on most people. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I very much enjoyed making this video. I think I realized that it is important to reflect on the topic of mental health and to talk to other people about it. So if you enjoyed this video, please comment and let us know what you think, or if you have any suggestions for future videos or other content that you might find useful.